Hey, welcome to Classroom to Corporate Connections. I'm excited to share my journey from classroom to corporate and build connections to help you succeed. My name is Sarah. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a white woman with short blonde hair, wearing blue glasses, and I'm sporting some new headphones today, my rose gold beats. Super excited. This is season one, episode 4, and it's called Lions and Tigers and Layoffs. Oh my! Um, Today I'm actually sitting in the San Francisco airport because I got some time to burn before I meet up with my boss Quan, and we head to the hotel to get ready for CMX Shine, which is the CMX Summit this year, and the theme is Shine. Super excited. CMX Summit is a conference for community builders, so I'm really pumped to learn some new things and bring them back to the Blanchard community that I am working with, and excited to maybe find some new nuggets I can drop here in the podcast as well. So let's go ahead and dive into the podcast. Today, we are delving into a topic that is unfortunately all too familiar for many folks, especially over the past, I would say, 12 to 18 months. Um, Layoffs. But before we dive into the layoffs, remember, we're going to talk about another situation that's kind of familiar, and that's making that leap from public educator to the corporate world. And then we'll go into the spine-chilling specter of layoffs. um, I know that as I was prepared to jump from, over 15 years in education into the corporate world, layoffs were truly the greatest fear I had. My job was secure with a capital S, barring any horrible faux pas, right? I was secure. I had been at my job at Eastern Carver County Schools, particularly for over 9 years. I was golden in my role. I wasn't going anywhere. Layoffs and budget reductions weren't going to affect me. So part of weighing the pros and cons of jumping into a totally different industry was thinking about the potential for layoffs, and made me nervous, but I took the plunge, as you know, right? That's how we have the podcast. So for a little background, if you're just joining us, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to the first 3 episodes. I spent over a decade in public education, shaping young minds and navigating the unique challenges of the classroom. Grades K through 3, have my principal's license, so a very active educator. And the shift to corporate America was really driven by a few different things. Burnout was number one. A desire for new challenges, opportunity for growth, a change of scenery. My mental health was huge, and of course, politics. I needed a place where I could be my true, authentic self, and be able to come to work every day as myself, where I was not only loved and accepted, but celebrated for who I was, who I am. So transitioning from classroom to corporate was really a significant shift for me. Suddenly, I found myself in a world that was governed by different rules, meetings and deadlines, and this corporate culture that was both exciting but intimidating, right? We'll talk about imposter syndrome later. In fact, I've got a super cool gal we need to have come on the podcast sometime to really talk about imposter syndrome, but you can join us in the Blanchard community if you want to dig into it. We've got some great conversations going there. But like, corporate America also came with this sense of freedom. And you might laugh at this next bit, but anyone who's been in education will understand wholeheartedly. Need to use the bathroom? Go. Do you need to ask permission? No. Do you need to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm 1 minute late for this meeting. I really had to go to the bathroom. No, you just take care of business. You're an adult. You just do it. In schools, you can't do that, especially with elementary age kids, because you can't leave them unattended. Makes perfect sense. I'm not complaining about the rules and the why. It just is a matter of fact, like, you just can't do it. It's a safety concern. But now I can. I've got this freedom. You don't have to ask anyone. There was this sense of adventure, a belief that I could bring the skills from education that I already had into this corporate space. And so throughout my time at Amazon, I had the same manager. She was amazing, Heather, love her. She was a great manager. She's now someone I consider an amazing friend. But I had a total of 3 different skip level managers. Each transition came with this uncertainty. Like, well, why did that happen? Why did our team shift over to a new manager? Where did they go? Do you think our jobs are secure? Is something going to happen? And the answer is always the same. Yeah, you're good. This happens in corporate. I talked to many different people on my team, outside my team. And they're like, oh yeah, this happens all the time in corporate. This happens all the time at Amazon. You change teams and people change and managers change. It's just life. I'm like, okay, cool. And then came the unexpected twist. Dun, dun, dun. Layoffs, right? That first round, I think I've mentioned, happened in November of 2022. Those were voluntary, and they impacted a lot of people that I knew at Amazon. And it was heartbreaking. And it left this feeling of like, I don't know, I'll call it survivor's guilt. I know that's not necessarily the right term to use in this situation, but that's what it felt like. Like, I wasn't asked to voluntarily be laid off, but some of my colleagues were. And I just, a little bit of me felt bad, felt guilty, like I am the new girl and I'm still here. And then the other part of me was like massive relief, like I didn't need to worry, I'm safe. So again, that happens. I ask the same questions. Are we safe? I get the same answers. Yeah. This happens in corporate. This happens in Amazon. Like, you're good. Your team is good. Like, everybody needs learning and development. Fast forward a couple months. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Wednesday morning, January 18th, 2023. Rumors are flying around, in the weeks leading up to this, but I was still assured, like, you wouldn't have been moved to my team if they were going to lay you off. That's like a lot of work and restructuring that they could have avoided. And I remember I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom, looking out the window, working where I sit every day, except for today because I'm in San Francisco. And I get this email, and the subject line says, important information about your role. Well, that's an interesting title or subject for an email. My heart skipped a beat as I opened the email. I mean, like right now I'm feeling the nerves like all over again as I share this story with you. And the first line read, today we're taking the very difficult step of reducing roles across several of our businesses. Unfortunately, your role has been eliminated. That's it. Not, hello, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Greetings, Sarah. Nothing personal. Nothing cordial. Just, unfortunately, your role has been eliminated. Like, not a big deal. Like, type, send. What the hell? I started crying. I was freaking out. I was panicking. I called my boss. And like I said, Heather used to, was my boss, but she's also, at the time, was a very good friend. Still is. Loyal confidant. I was freaking out. And so I'm like, I have to call her. And I remember she answered the phone. And she's like, hey, Sarah, how's it going? Like, she's seriously always in the best moods and always wants to make those around her feel so, happy, loved, welcome. She shows the most empathy of anyone I've ever met. And she was just in this great mood. And she was in her kitchen getting some coffee, and she could tell right away that that I was not happy and I was very upset. And she's like, what's going on? I read her the email, and she's like, no, Sarah, that's not possible. Like, no, that's not right. No, I didn't get any email like that. And when did it come? And she makes her way back to her computer, and I can hear it in her voice when she sees it. And she found the same email waiting for her. Our whole team was laid off. We were devastated. She let me go, and she was going to head over, call her boss. And a little while later, I joined them on a call and was shocked to find this person who'd been telling me like all along, like, you'll be fine. She was genuinely, without a doubt, 110% just as shocked, surprised, taken aback as we were. This was like a ball out of left field for her. She had no clue that this was coming. I mean, on one hand, that makes me feel a little better that I know that she wasn't lying to me. But on the other hand, I'm like, so you eliminated 18,000 roles, and you didn't talk to like managers or skip level managers, or, like, what if she would have made a different decision knowing that Heather and I and, on our team are high performing? And she wasn't even consulted, asked, considered, nothing. So then I'm like pulling down some files that I've, have on my work computer that are mine, and talking to a colleague who's actually, and a friend who's actually from London, and we're on Slack, and in the middle of it, boom, gone, ends the call, locked out, no more access to Slack. So we found each other on Facebook, continued like chatting on Facebook a little bit, and then I went to my emails. Nothing. They had all been deleted and cleared out. The only thing I had in my inbox was the message this morning saying that unfortunately my job has been, removed, or whatever it was I said. All my emails prior to that day were deleted. Everything in my folders that I'd saved, gone. And then shortly after that, I was completely locked out of my laptop. So like before noon that day, access to everything was cut off, gone. Let that sink in. No personalized email, no personalized message. Just, unfortunately, we had to make a difficult decision to reduce your role. Sorry. Actually, they didn't even say sorry. I'm not even going to throw that in there. And then everything just locked out. Now, I got a severance package, right? That's great. That's good. But there's so many other ways that you can go about that than the way that it happened. And it sucked. What a weird, crappy, awful way for your role to be eliminated. I mean, I was seriously in shock / freaking out because I didn't know what I was going to do. Layoffs can be emotionally draining for anyone, but for someone who recently transitioned from the classroom to a whole new role, it was especially daunting. It was like this emotional roller coaster. Like, I was loving my job. Boom, you're laid off. You don't have a job. It was tough. The initial shock, the fear of the unknown, this sense of rejection that I had, like maybe you didn't do good enough. I mean, I had to eventually get past that because they laid off 18,000 people that morning at that exact same like email. So I had to know that it wasn't like personally against me, but that feeling of rejection, it was all there. So it took some time. I realized this was another curve in the journey. Connecting with my colleagues who experienced the same emotions helped. We formed a support system that really made the process more bearable. Like I said, our whole team was laid off, and we quickly gathered like on a group text message, began sharing emotions, thoughts, and in later days and weeks, we shared out like our action plans and any news or updates we received post layoff, because sometimes one of us wouldn't receive an email or we didn't totally understand. Okay, wait. Truth moment. That last one was me. Mostly totally didn't understand was me. I'm like, what does this mean, y'all? And they'd be like, oh, Sarah, here's what that means. Okay, thank you. In moments of crisis, and this was truly a moment of crisis for me, we often find valuable lessons. And one of the biggest lessons for me was the importance of adaptability. The skills I honed in education, resilience, creativity, adaptability, proved to be my allies in the corporate world, especially during these challenging times. It also taught me the importance of a supportive community, both personally and professionally. And I guess, as I've noted before, it taught me to embrace patience. It's so hard, but it's so worth it. And I'm going to make a total shameless plug for my current job. When I talk about community, personally and professionally, I found so much support and community in our Blanchard community. So if you haven't signed up, I'm going to drop the details in the description of the podcast today. And I want you to go sign up for Blanchard Community, because it's a place where leaders from around the globe come to connect, learn, and grow. It's totally free, and I promise you it's totally worth it. And you will find some really cool, uplifting stuff in there. You'll find some stuff that makes you think. And best of all, you'll get to network with people around the world. That's probably one of my favorite things about my current job. So, as we wrap up today, one piece of advice that I have for others that are facing similar transitions and uncertainties, whether that's moving from the classroom to the corporate world, whether that is having recently been laid off in the corporate world, whatever your transition or uncertainty is, I want to tell you to embrace the uncertainty, learn from it. Remember that every setback is a setup for your comeback. I love it. Surround yourself with a supportive network, a supportive community, and don't be afraid to lean on your unique skills, your experiences, and your network. Until next time, I want you to take care. And remember, Deborah Messing says, do what makes you happy. And when it doesn't make you happy anymore, make a change without fear. I did. Bye.